All praises. Once again, Asher, Sukkot, and that's Happy Sukkot or Feast of Tabernacles. So we just want to get in. We had a wonderful time as we brought it in yesterday evening, and here we are today, once again gathered together as the scriptures tell us to. Could someone get me the book, Baba Quashah, of Leviticus 25 and 9? And we're just going to run through some scriptures, acknowledge the Most High in this day that He's given us. Salaki, Numbers 29, start at verse 12, and then we're going to read on down. Do a little reading today. So it's important that we understand that, once again, as this is associated with atonement, even leading up to the Feast of Trumpets, all of this is symbolic of one feast of another, and it brings us into ultimately the Feast of Tabernacles, which represents the Most High, dwelling with us. So it's also a time of forgiveness and even blessings. We see release comes in 7 years of the Jubilee period. You see, according to the Torah, there's a year of release. So even the Most High, when He's with us, then there's a release. The scriptures bear record that He gives us the power to get the wealth. So not just physical wealth, but the wealth as it relates to wisdom, knowledge, understanding. The Most High is giving us this, and all provision is where He is. So when a man's ways, are pleasing to the Most High, when a man's ways please the Most High, even his enemies are at peace. They have to surrender, to that authority. So it's important that we keep in mind that He is with us, and this is the time that He would dwell with us. There would be evidence if He was with you or if He was against you. All right, and we're going to take a look at how this feast was observed. Give me Numbers 29, and let's start at verse 12.
It says, on the 15th day of the 7th month, you shall have a holy convocation. You shall do no servile work, and you shall keep a feast unto the Lord 7 days. And
so that's what we're doing. Once again, feast is an appointment, but notice there's no civil work involved, and it says on this day, and that's where we're in. And we're to have a set-apart convocation, a holy convocation, a separate convocation from other nations. A lot of people don't understand that. Even in the instructions, when the Most High gave His laws, statutes, commandments, namely these feast days, it was not indicative of any other people. That we had to establish this. Now we see in the scriptures in Zechariah 14, they're going to have to acknowledge our ultimate rule, where all nations are going to come on this feast day to bear their offerings. But make no mistakes about it, they know that they are separate. The scriptures bear record that there are different powers. There are other gods, not to serve the gods of these nations. And you don't think these nations knew who their powers were, and knew who our power was, and knew it was exclusively ours? So we solidify that when we keep these days. Because what are our people doing? They fraternizing with the heathen. They celebrating heathens' customs. You see what I'm saying? Which is separate from ours. Read on.
Come, and you shall offer a burnt offering, a sacrifice made by fire, of a sweet savor unto the Lord. 13 young bullocks, 2 rams, and 14 lambs of the first year. They shall be without blemish. So
there, once again, we see this, and we see this reiterated through all the feast days. One thing they have in common: offerings, and they are unblemished offerings. We know the scripture, we bring it out all the times, Romans 12 and 1, where we're to present ourselves as that living sacrifice. That word holy, once again, separate. Separate from whom? Separate from the heathen, separate from other nations. This is what I've given to Israel. So from now on, when we see those verses and we see holy, holy, let it be known that it's segregation, and you're going to see that common theme throughout keeping the feast days. Passover was the destruction of our enemies. Every feast day for us is salvation from our enemies. So why would they be there? It doesn't make it. We're being delivered. The Most High smiled upon us on these days. This is a perfect time to gather all the nations if we were going to make this an all-inclusive belief system. But that's not what the scripture bears record of. Read on.
Come. It says, verse 14, and their meat offering shall be a flour mingled with oil, 3/10 deals unto every bullock of the 13 bullocks, 2/10 deals to each ram of the 2 rams, and a several 10 deal to each lamb of the 14 lambs, and 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering, beside the continual burnt offering, his meat offering, and his drink offering. And on the 2nd day you shall offer 12 young bullocks, 2 rams, 14 lambs of the first year without spot.
Stop right there. My purpose for us reading this is no, with each day. So this is not like a day where we just day one and we just forget about it or we kept it. This is a continual theme we see this. So the feast day is indicative of all 7 days, and there were sacrifices given until it, in order for it to be complete. Because how many days are we supposed to give these sacrifices? 7 days, which is again completeness. So you have to make sure that this feast gathering, the 7th month, 7 days, this is about completing things too, making sure that you endure and that you finish the work that's given. You can't just start off the first day and say, yeah, I kept tabernacles. No, you didn't. Read on.
It says, and their meat offering and their drink offering for the bullocks, for the rams, and for the lambs shall be according to their number after the manner, and 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering, beside the continual burnt offering.
So even on this day, notice we were atoned for, but guess what? You still giving sin offerings. And this is the purpose why YAHAWAH'S had to come, because we continually had to give up, not the ghosts, but the goats. We had to give up the goats. We had to give up the lambs. You know what I'm saying? So it's indicative of Israel would need somebody to come and finally ultimate sacrifice for the nation of Israel, because again, these animal sacrifices never took sin away from the hearts of the people. They became excuses to actually break the law. And many of us do that now. When you go back and you break it, or you don't do it in its entirety or completeness, or you remove yourself from it. What was that scripture, Yashu? You used it when we were out there. I think it was Deuteronomy 30, dealing with the Most High turned from Israel, turned his face.
32:26, I think.
Yeah, 30. Can you grab that real quick? That's important to understand, because many times when the Most High come to these feast days, and then if he's looking at us, and if we don't completely
Hosea 5:15 said something.
Yeah, but it was Deuteronomy. I like the one Deuteronomy. He'll come to these feast days and he's looking, because they're his, and he's looking to see what you're going to do with his instructions. And then we don't do it. He's rooting for us. Yeah, okay. Oh man, then he turned. You know how a father get disgusted? Oh damn, you turn your head. That's how the Most High has done Israel many and many times over, man. How long are we going to disappoint him in not completing the task? Read on.
Deuteronomy 32:26.
Right.
I said I would scatter them into corners. I would make the remembrance of them to cease.
This is the result of him not being with us. So the penalty of him not dwelling with us in this unity is him against us, and that's why we see the captivity. That's why Esau can come down here and pull our cord out and just throw it on the ground, not say nothing, and then send the centurion woman of our nation to come and tell us, is that alcohol? I mean, come on, bro. Like, we're children. It's because the Most High has turned from us, and that's why we even find ourselves subject to lesser than.
Verse 20.
Verse 20. I'm going to bring it up.
Bring it up.
It says, and he said, I will hide my face from them. This is Deuteronomy 32:20. And he said, I will hide my face from them. I will see what their end shall be.
That's why I say he's looking. I'm going to see what your end will be. End is synonymous with you completing it, doing it in its entirety. I know a lot of times we make excuses. We got to go to work. I got to go somewhere. I got to go to. Man, he going to see what your end going to be. Read.
It says, for they are a very forward generation.
Very forward. Meaning you're going to rationalize and reason and make every excuse that possibly comes up, and then ones that are not even thought of yet, the excuses that don't even exist. Somehow you're going to find a way to get an excuse to say, this is why I didn't do it exactly the way he said it. But we're supposed to live by every word, right? That proceeds out of the mouth of the Most High. Read on.
It says, for they are a forward generation.
They are forward generation. These are the people that want to do whatever they want to do. I tell them hate what I hate. They want to love them. I tell them salvation is for you. You say no, it's for everybody. I tell you, I want to give you the covenants are just yours and yours alone and nobody else's. And you like, well, what about the goddamn devil? What you see that the Bible speaks of? That's what we do. Go ahead.
Children in whom is no faith.
No faith. And the no faith that's why I love this verse. And when you brought it out, the slave plantation. Children who would, read it again.
It says from the top, and he said, I will hide my face from them.
Read on.
I will see what their end shall be. For they are a very forward generation.
Very forward. I'm going to see what they do with this. Read on.
Children in whom is no faith.
No obedience. That's what faith, it ain't just believing, because notice in that text, in that verse, he said, I'm going to see what their end going to be. Basically, I'm going to see what they going to do. I'm going to see what they going to do. And man, these are people that don't have no obedience. And it's not faith like, we believe. I mean, we've been saying that for a long time. But there's no compliance. Read on.
It says, they have moved me to jealousy with that which is not God.
Ooh, they have moved me to jealousy with that which is not him. In other words, not what I told you to do. You just stay still, be good. Somebody may be allergic. Read on.
It says, verse 26, I said I would scatter them into corners.
He said he would do what?
I will scatter them into corners.
Right.
I would make the remembrance of them to cease from among men.
And that's what we're seeing as a result of being forward. Read on.
Worry not that I feared the wrath of the enemy, lest their adversaries should behave themselves strangely, and lest they should say, our hand is high, and the Lord have done all this. I got a precept too.
Bring it up.
This is Deuteronomy chapter 1. I'm going to just start at verse 41. Then he answered and said unto me, we have sinned against the Lord. We will go up and fight according to all that the Lord our God commanded us.
Right.
And when ye had girded on every man his weapons of war, you were ready to go up into
right.
the hill. And the Lord said unto me, say unto them, go not up.
There you go.
Neither fight, for I am not among you, lest ye be smitten before your enemies.
And that's what Tabernacles is about. He's not among us. We're trying to provoke his presence. That's why you're doing this feast. And do you just want him in your life just these days? No, throughout your days. And that's what these feast days symbolize. And so I know a lot of times we get in a niche where we're fixated just on this time. No, it elevates. Don't leave the weightier matters undone, which is compliance to the law in its completeness. You see what I'm saying? The hypocrites did a little here, did a little there. They might have started some, but they didn't finish it. All right?
Deuteronomy 32:27. Remember the days of old, consider the years of many generations. Ask thy fathers, and he will show thee, thy elders, and they will tell thee.
That's right. So it's important that we understand that. So, once again, Tabernacles representing that of a movable sanctuary, if you will. And the thing that was carried was the ark, the Ark of the Covenant. And the covenant is symbolic of what's going to protect you. You know, they say the Torah is a fence. The Torah is a hedge of protection, meaning the laws. They're to confine you, but they're also to keep certain things away. And so when the Most High is in the camp, the enemy can't get in the camp. All right? When the Most High's in the camp, you become a military, and you become a force where nothing can penetrate. You see what I'm saying? Just like when we read the book of Joel and 2, and when we look at these mighty men that we're going to see, and they're not breaking rank. That's because the Most High's presence, he's there. When we don't have his presence, now we're open to destruction. What does the scripture say? When the enemy comes in like a flood, the Most High, he sets up his standard. His standard is this word. And if you don't have that, then you're not going to have that protection. All right. It's like a dead ark, or it's like us walking without the ark. Instead of the ark, they had the principles of Mayat. Well, you defeated as Israel. Anybody could touch that. The principles that you go up there and kick it. And nobody care about tip that thing over. Destroy it, burn it down. But you ain't doing the ark like that. Bring it
That
up.
was like the story of Job, where he talked about putting a hedge of protection around Job.
That's right.
He was keeping,
You keep it, and that's because the Most High was with him. And that's what this is all about, him dwelling with us. Read on.
I gotta put this up.
Get it.
It says this is Psalms 1:1. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners,
Right.
nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful, but his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doth he meditate day and night.
You know what? That's powerful what you said, because that's like we become that walking temple. We become that movable sanctuary, just like in the wilderness. We're sojourners. We're in a strange land now, but you have that ark with you. You have that protection. Notice what it said in that. It said, he who walketh not. And that's the Most High, his delight. It's like the da-da-da-da-da-da, and he's with him. I'm walking, I'm going about my way, and the Most High is with me when I walk. Remember what the Hebrew boys, they said, there's somebody else in there with them. All that's symbolic of Tabernacles. And when Yahawah comes back, we defeat our enemy. It's a wrap. He's with us. We're ready for battle. We're ready for war. Our commander and chief is here, the king. And now we're going to be protected because the living word is among us. Come on.
Deuteronomy 32:27. Were it not that I feared the wrath of the enemy, lest their adversaries should behave themselves strangely, and lest they should say, our hand is high, and the Lord have not done all this. For they are a nation void of counsel, neither is there any understanding in them. Oh that they were wise, that they understood this, that they would consider their latter end. How should one chase 1,000 and two put 10,000 to flight, except their rock had sold them, and the Lord has shut them up.
Right. No, that's it. That's it on that. Give me Deuteronomy, and let's go to the 29. We'll just skip the 40.
Deuteronomy 29 and 40. Deuteronomy 29, 40?
Oh, Salakia. What's the...
Numbers, Salakia.
Numbers.
It says, and Moses told the children of Israel according to all that the Lord commanded Moses. Going to 30, chapter 30?
No, that's it. So read it again from the top.
I'm going to start at verse 39. These things ye shall do unto the Lord in your set feast, beside your vows and your freewill offerings, for your burnt offerings and for your meat offerings, and for your drink offerings and for your peace offerings. And Moses told the children of Israel, according to all that the Lord commanded Moses.
What? According to all. So they had to do all this, and it had to be right and exact, man. All these lambs, all these animals had to be sacrificed. Man, it was a busy time. And look through, that's why when Yahawah and his ministry, he says, my yoke is easy. My burden is light, man. I'm going to make a way for Israel to be connected, because these sacrifices, and even in all their details, the one common thing, we're going to see sin offer. Israel was just like, well, I guess I'll just bring some more lamb. I'm bringing lamb to like we bring and eat it up. We just gonna bring some lamb and I'll be all right till next year. No. And if you notice, this is what the Most High, when he gave Moses the word to give to the nation, and he wanted us to complete it and to do everything in its detail. So I bring that point out to know that this is a detailed feast, and all the feast days of the Heavenly Father are detailed. So we can't just take it like it ain't really none. You know, I'm here, I did a little bit of it, that's that. No, you have to continue on for it to benefit you, because he's going to see what your end is. I want to see if you completed it. Give me Deuteronomy 16 and 13. We're going to read 15.
Deuteronomy chapter 16, verse 13. Thou shalt observe the Feast of Tabernacles 7 days.
How many?
7 days.
It ain't, is it one day?
7 days.
Is it just the first day and then the last day?
7 days.
7 days. This is a 7-day feast. Each day, we even saw in the Torah, each day had its offering. So you couldn't diminish, and we just read along with the other ones, along with the other offerings of that day. You see what I'm saying? Read on.
Come. After that, thou hast gathered in thy corn and thy wine, and thou shalt rejoice in thy feast, thou and thy son and thy daughter. And
now look at, we see that. We see that out here. We observing that. Come on.
Thy manservant and thy maidservant, and the Levite, and the stranger, and the fatherless, and the widow that are within thy gates. 7 days shalt thou keep a solemn feast unto the Lord thy God in the place which the Lord shall choose, because the Lord thy God shall bless thee in all thy increase.
He gonna do what?
Shall bless thee in all thine increase.
Y'all gotta expect that this 7 day and what you're doing, there's an increase. We elevate from here. Remember what I brought out about, add to your faith, virtue. We need temperance and all that. There's gonna be a spiritual addition and a physical release. Because it's important. The Most High he manifests things physically, and it benefits us spiritually. And so we have to acknowledge that. That's what this 7-day feast is going to bring. Why? Because we did it in its completeness, and he's with us because of it. All right, read.
And in all the works of thine hands.
Whatever you do now, the business that you want to start, the different things that you're putting your hand to do, you're gonna be successful in it because he's with you. It's impossible. I've never seen the righteous forsaken. We don't believe that. I've never seen the righteous forsaken. That's the key. Nor seed begging bread. If you feel like you forsaken or you got to go around and you begging Billy, then there's a disconnect between you and your power. There's something that you haven't completed. It's incomplete. And go back. The Most High, he's so loving with us, he'll make you go back and take the test. You get a do-over. That's the beautiful thing.
This is Isaiah chapter 54, verse 7. It says, for a small moment have I forsaken thee, but with great mercies will I gather thee. Verse 8, in a little wrath I hid my face from thee. For a moment, but with everlasting kindness will I have mercy on thee, saith Yahweh thy Redeemer.
You know what's so, and you can break it down if you want, but you know what's so beautiful about that? In that we hear that the Most High, the grace and the mercy, but you can hear plain as day if you really listen. He said, my sheep know my voice. It's associated with being obedient. He said, read that part, read that again, read it one more time. It's something right in there, what he's going to do.
The book of Isaiah chapter 54 verse 7, for a small moment have I forsaken thee.
Right?
But with great mercies.
Stop. Will I what?
But with great mercies will I gather thee.
Now what's the great mercies that he's gathering us with? Come on, y'all got to know what it is.
The great mercies that he's gathering us with?
What is he gathering us with? The feast days. These are the gathering, even Zephaniah 2:1, gather yourself together. These are talking about the feast day because this is where his presence, this is where he wants to dwell, in a little sanctuary where 2 or 3 are gathered. He's telling us, read that part again. It's the feast days that is his mercy And this is where the laws are full of mercy. The grace is in the keeping of the commandments, not because we have grace, we don't have to keep them. You provoke grace through obedience. You see what I'm saying? But the church teaches the total opposite. All right, read it one more time.
Isaiah 54 verse 7, for a small moment have I forsaken thee, but with great mercies will I gather thee.
Right.
Verse 8.
Every time the Most High turned his presence from us, it came because of, and it was, the evidence was because there was ignorance to the law. We had the most suffering when after a while we were totally removed from the law. And that's why we out here as Gentiles, Gentile minded, and having to be brought back in. That's his mercy. The fact that you get to come to another feast day to complete it. You can't keep coming to it and not completing it. But you get another mercy every time there's a feast day. Every time there's a Shabbat, we should be, man, our minds should be blown. I get to see another one. I got another opportunity to be healed. I got another opportunity to serve the Most High. And if he comes while I'm serving him, oh my, that's a grand entrance. You see what I'm saying? So we got to make sure that we're doing it all. Read on.
Verse 8, in a little wrath I hid my face from thee for a moment, but with everlasting kindness will I have mercy on thee.
And this is Hamashiach coming back. What did he bring to us? He brought us the mercy through what? Through the law. The living word, teaching us how to do it, showing us. The Most High is so loving that he, and not to sound like a church pastor, but he sent his son to show Israel how to do it. I'm gonna send you your big brother, and he's gonna show y'all how to do this. He's gonna be the example that you can look at and how to do it. And then on top of that, I'm not gonna leave you comfortless. I'm gonna dwell with you on another level. I'm gonna send you the set apart spirit. Man, if we don't get it this time, we deserve to be the 2/3. We deserve it. We deserve every piece of palm he coming down with. Yaka! We deserve all of that. All of it. Go ahead, you got a precept?
Nah.
Okay, all praise. Was that the end of that?
I get this right. Verse 17. No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that shall raise up against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of Yahweh in their righteousness.
In their what?
In their righteousness.
The service and the righteousness is when we do this in its completeness. Now the Most High is with us. Anybody, you become like a walking ark. We become the ark. Can't nobody touch you and not get jacked up, get killed, man, because you represent the presence of the Most High. All right. So let's go to verse 15 of that Deuteronomy 60. Where we at?
Can I read down to 16?
You sure can.
Let me just read the 17. All right, this is
I'll
Deuteronomy.
be wicked as hell. I tell you, no, you can't read to 16.
The passage say, don't keep reading.
Don't keep reading. Stop. It burns us. But go ahead.
Deuteronomy 16:15. 7 days shalt thou keep a solemn feast unto the Lord thy God in the place which the Lord shall choose.
Where he chooses. And he chooses Israel. And Israel now has become his people. We're scattered. So wherever Israel is, and those that he's chosen to do this. We are the place, we are the living sacrifices that he chooses. Only acceptable sacrifice. Because even here, you may not be an acceptable sacrifice, but the Most High is looking to see who is the acceptable sacrifice. Who's on my feast days? Who is upon my altar? The feast days even represent an altar. This is a living altar, a living ark, a living covenant. We don't serve the power of the dead. We serve a power of the living. Everything is moving. As I walk by the way, we meditate on these laws day and night. Read.
This is lining back up what you were saying. As us being that temple, no matter where you're at, this is 1 Corinthians 3:16, know ye not that ye are the temple of God, and that the Spirit of God dwelleth in you?
Ooh,
If any man defile the temple of God,
come on.
him shall God destroy.
Look, now doesn't that make sense even in the feast days? And that's the Most High being with you. He shall destroy, because they going to touch the ark. When we become that temple. The temple going to keep the feast days in its entirety. The temple going to make sure the right sacrifices are given. You see what I'm saying? But now that's you. And if the Most High, now we understand the meaning. If the Most High is, if man is against you, I forget how it goes. How can the Most High is for you? Who can be against you? You ever hear that? We hear that all the time. And the church always saying, but the Most High is not for you because he's not with you. But if the Most High is for you, who can be against you? They'll die. They'll die messing with the ark, man. Read.
Come. If any man defile the temple of God, him shall God destroy, for the temple of God is set apart, which temple ye are.
So we got to stop saying the temple like, yeah, that's my temple. But read that part again, just what you read.
Come. It says, for the temple of God is set apart.
It's set apart. Read.
Which temple ye are.
Which ye are. Now, you are that temple. You're the temple of the living power. You need to see it that way, not the temple just being stationary. And that, yeah, I'm the temple, in my own right, and yeah, the Most High has made me the temple. No, that's true, but know who you have, who's supposed to be in you, and that's Him. So that every enemy should be bowing down to us. Every enemy should be bowing down to. The reason that it's not is because He ain't in you.
The book of Deuteronomy 11 and 22. For if ye shall diligently keep all these commandments which I command you, to do them, to love Yahweh your power, to walk in all his ways, and to cleave unto him, then will Yahweh drive out all these nations from before you, and ye shall possess greater nations and mightier than yourself. Verse 24, every place wherein the soles of your feet shall tread,
Look at that.
shall be yours. From the wilderness of Lebanon, from the river and the river of Euphrates, even to the utmost sea shall be yours.
And why is that? Because so even when Christianity teaches, you could never get the kingdom if you don't have the Most High's presence. And the Most High's presence represents the keeping of the commandments. It's the ark, it's the covenants itself. What was in the ark is the Most High's commandments. So it's just utterly ridiculous what they're teaching. And they're teaching our people not to have his presence. And that's why we don't have no power. That's why we don't have no victory. That's why we don't have no deliverance. Give me Ezra 3 and 4. And then we'll get John 7. And we see YAHAWAH'S example. He kept all these feasts.
Right.
Every single one of them. There's not one of these feasts that he didn't keep.
Right. Con, 3 and 4.
Con. Ezra 3 and 4.
Con, it's the book of Ezra, chapter 3, verse 4. And they also kept the Feast of Tabernacles, as it is written, and offered the daily burnt offerings by number, according to the custom, as the duty of every day required.
Every day. That's the emphasis. And that's symbolic to us doing this every day, man. We can't slack off until he comes. Every day. We should embody the every feast day in our character. We should Passover, unleavened bread. All these things are spiritually discerned now. We shouldn't have to, be thinking like on the letter of it. We should be elevated to the spiritual, walking it out.
Right.
Read.
Con, actually, if you go to verse 1, it goes back to that gathering.
Bring it up.
This is Ezra 3 and 1. And when the 7th month was come, and the children of Israel were in the cities, the people gathered themselves together as one man to Jerusalem. So they was on that same mindset. Everybody was on the same understanding. And then that's how they was able to pull that off. Because they was unified.
Because they were unified. You know what's crazy? Even how we came out here and we saw these brothers, these gathering. That's the Most High bringing us together. We didn't know them, but they brought them. And even those that may do a lunar solar Sabbath and those that do a Saturday Sabbath, we were all on the right Sabbath for those two groups during this feast, this month. And that lets you know that when YAHAWAH'S comes together, when he comes, he's going to bring us together. Who knows? It may be in a time like that where we're all aligned, where it's all going to line up. Read it again from the top.
It says, this is Ezra 3:1. And when the 7th month was come, and the children of Israel were in the cities.
It's the 7th month came. We were all aligned. Those that do the lunar and those that do the weekly. In this 7th month. That's not per se.
If you look, it happened, the same thing happened last year too, though.
It happened last year too, that's right. The significance on a feast day, lined up, 7th month, when he's supposed to be dwelling with Israel. Read.
It says, the people gathered themselves together as one man to Jerusalem. And then they went to Jerusalem because Deuteronomy 16:16.
Right.
3 times in a year, so all males appear.
That's right.
And at that time it was Jerusalem.
Right.
And it says the Feast of Tabernacles.
The Feast of Tabernacles.
So they was keeping the law.
Keeping the law. We see in Deuteronomy 31, go to verse 10 and read the 13. Because before even entering the promised land, we were instructed to do what? We had to read the law during the Feast of Tabernacles. Had to read it. Why? Because before you could get into your inheritance, you had to have the ark with you. That's your light burning bright. Is the law. The law is a lamp. I mean, come on. Bring it up.
This is Deuteronomy 31:10. And Moses commanded them, saying, at the end of every 7 years, in the solemnity of the year of release, in the Feast of Tabernacles.
What is it?
It says, in the solemnity of the year of release, in the Feast of Tabernacles.
The year of release and the Feast of Tabernacles. If the Most High is with you, there's going to be a release. Everything that held us bound is released on these days. These preachers teaching this crazy stuff, man. Come get this vial of water. Come get this vial. You're going to be delivered. No, it's not going to be no deliverance. There's no deliverance without Torah. Every deliverance Israel had, it was with the ark. It was with Torah. It was him with us. Tabernacles. Come on.
When all Israel is come to appear before the Lord thy God, in the place which he shall choose, thou shalt read this law before all Israel in their hearing. Gather the people together, men and women and children, and thy stranger that is within thy gates, that they may hear and that they may learn and fear the Lord your God, and observe to do all the works of his law. And that their children which have not known anything may hear and learn to fear the Lord your God as long as you live in the land, whither you go over Jordan to possess it. So
when you go over Jordan and learn to fear, so that you would keep this, you be afraid not to keep it. Too many of us are not afraid. We are not scared at all. Not scared at all. So, some of the things to ask, even as he released, is the fear. Give me that fear that motivates me to do what you want me to do. You got a precept? Let's get it. And then we'll go to Acts 7. And like I said, if anybody else got anything they want to say.
I'm going to read Joshua 1:7-8. Only be thou strong and very courageous, that thou mayest observe to do according to all the law which Moses my servant commanded thee. Turn not from it to the right hand or to the left, that thou mayest prosper whithersoever thou goest. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success.
Beautiful. Go ahead, you can expound on.
I mean, yeah, like, so even when you look at the law in itself, anything when you read Deuteronomy 28, 1 through 14, it's all about the benefits of the law. Right? You look at just other people that keep the law. We don't say that, for the rights of the video, because we may go up. We don't want our channel taken down. But the people that had the power to do that, even when they keep the law on its own, they become the most powerful group, and the law wasn't even for them.
Right.
So if we keep this law and meditate, which is to think about it day in and day out, meditating and write what you read, what you think about, what you teaching about, talking about, you're only going to have a prosperous outcome. And so when you look at it as a nation of people doing that, then the nation becomes prosperous.
That's right. That's right.
And then it says, I just want to get that last part. It says, whithersoever thou goest, and us being in America, keeping the commandments.
That's right.
Right, so that's a cut to anybody that say you can only keep the feast days in the land.
Right.
It says whithersoever thou goest, even here in America.
Like I said, every deliverance, when we got delivered out of Egypt, and in order to take the promised land, we had to have understanding of the laws. There's never been a time where Israel was delivered without the presence of the Most High. Never.
Yep.
Never. And the other nations would see that he was with us because of our obedience. And that's why the earth is waiting for the manifestation of the sons and the daughters of the Most High. They're waiting for you to read the law, to keep the law. When the righteous son rule, the people rejoice. All right? Go ahead.
That's it on that.
Okay, Acts.
You said, Acts.
What else?
St. John 7.
St. John's, like St. John 7. Was it 7?
Yeah, it's 7.
The 7, yeah.
38.
Read a little bit
I
above.
was actually meditating on that too, so that's the spirit.
Yeah. Let's get some context.
What verse?
First verse.
Start at verse 1. Let's
John
get the
7,
context.
verse 1. After these things, Yahawashi walked in Galilee, for he would not walk in Jewry, because the Jews sought to kill him. Now the Jews' Feast of Tabernacles was at hand.
So you notice the Israelites' Feast of Tabernacles, he always showed up during the feast days because he was the living Torah. Read.
Now the Jews' Feast of Tabernacles was at hand.
You got to understand, who's in our presence? When is the Most High's presence going to come in? When we're gathered together. And even where it says where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, a lot of times that's at my instruction. That's, if you want to be technical, that's when the places where I call, when I called you to something. If I call you to assembly where 2 because name in the Hebrew, even Hasham is the name, but Sham means authority. So it's really saying where 2 or 3 are gathered in my authority. The only way you're going to have authority is if you obey. Even that goes back to keeping the Torah. Read.
It says, for his brethren therefore said unto him, depart hence and go into Judea, that thy disciples also may see the works that thou doest. For there is no man that doeth anything in secret, and he himself seeketh to be known openly. If thou do these things, show thyself to the world. For neither did his brethren believe in him. Then Yahawashi said unto them, my time is not yet come, but your time is always ready.
Right, so he wasn't ready to put on a performance. His time had not yet come. And we see that even those of his own nation wanted to destroy him. Read on.
Verse 7, the world cannot hate me, but me it hateth, because I testify of it, that the works thereof are evil. Go ye up unto this feast. I go not up yet unto this feast.
He told his disciples to go to the feast. This has been a perfect opportunity to tell them we don't have to do it. I'm here. He instructed them, go to the feast. It's important. And now watch the symbolism here. He told them to go first. Read.
It says, go ye up unto this feast. I go not up yet unto this feast.
I'm not there yet. And they didn't even understand that saying. That would be something that they would teach after his death about Israel, and the prophecies. he really was speaking prophecy here and talk about his coming again, because more than likely when he come, we know we're going to celebrate Tabernacles. He could come in the Feast of Tabernacles. He could come on any feast, but he could be on the Feast of Tabernacles, him being with us once again. And notice he said, I come not yet to this feast. And just like we know, Zechariah 14 is prophetic. It's a prophecy of what's to come, and that's the Feast of Tabernacles. Read.
He says, I go not up yet unto this feast, for my time is not yet full come.
It ain't come. Is his time right now? It ain't yet. It ain't yet. It ain't full come. So when even people talking about he fulfilled everything, he just said right there, even then, his time didn't full come.
When we break that, when we go into that, that's just like what he told his mother when it was time
That's
to
right.
turn the water into wine.
That's
So
right.
My time is not yet come.
That's right.
The woman depart from me. You
That's
know what
right.
I'm saying?
That's right.
Because he wasn't ready. So he had enough knowledge and wisdom to know when he was ready to do the work.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't know when to do the work and when to shut down.
That's right. That's right. Read.
It says, when he said, this is verse 9, when he had said these words unto them, he abode still in Galilee. But when his brethren were gone up,
Once his brothers went there, come on,
then went he also up unto the feast.
then he went to the feast. And that's still symbolic of the Most High wanting to see what you gonna do. We got to do some things first. We always waiting for him to do something. He's like, I want to, y'all go. And then I'm going to show up. When we obey, this is when he shows up. Read.
I just want to make a point too.
Oh, good.
When people try to say Christ didn't come to the feast,
Oh.
so he broke the law. You see, he went up, but he didn't go in secret. I mean, he went in secret, not openly.
Right.
But he still showed up.
Yeah, he was just telling them, y'all go ahead, I'm coming.
Yeah, come.
That's it. Yeah. Read on.
It says, but when his brethren were gone up, then he went also up unto the feast, not openly, but as it were in secret.
So you see, when his brothers went up, he also went up. He just gave them a head start. Read.
Then the Jews sought him at the feast and said, where is he? And there was much murmuring among the people concerning him.
Now notice this. It said the Jews sought him at the feast, and the much murmuring. Don't it sound like how we get attacked for keeping the feast? And it's always by our own people. You get attacked and fighting us on and having debates. I can't believe it about, we don't have to do it. Read that part again.
And Salaki, if you notice too, we just read that when you keep these feast days, you got to be as one man. They came with a wicked agenda.
Yep.
So these Pharisees, these Jews, was actually breaking the law because they didn't come under one man mindset. They wasn't a cud.
Right.
They wasn't unified.
Right.
They came really to try to trip him up or to try to kill him.
They came with deceit
Come.
and murder.
Yep.
They had murder in their, in their hearts, and they would have been keeping the feast unworthy.
Come. Yeah. That's right. Come. That's right. It says, and there was much murmuring among the people concerning him, for some said he's a good man, others said nay, but he deceiveth the people. Howbeit no man spoke openly of him for fear of the Jews.
Mm-hmm.
Now about the midst of the feast, YAHAWAH'S went up into the temple and taught.
And did what?
And taught.
So he taught in the midst of the feast. So even the fact that it's showing you that it's more than one day.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And he went in the midst. And again, where two or three are gathered, he's in the midst. We were gathered. This is where he would come to. You guarantee the presence of the Most High is at every feast day you keep. He's here right now. Every feast day you keep. Read.
If you look at YAHAWAH'S spirit, he did his job, but he was like these guys that called themselves the Messiah. They want to be seen by everybody.
Right.
YAHAWAH'S spirit, he was more low key. He was on the low.
There you go.
Low key, probably had the face cover.
You know how Tazadat would like to walk
that's what I was
through?
thinking.
Yeah, he don't
chilling.
want to be seen, take pictures. That was him.
YAHAWAH'S. Then he went and taught openly.
Right.
In the synagogues. But these brothers that say like, God Jew, he going around saying the Messiah, but he run up on camera. He never teaches. He's always on camera trying to debate Israelite camps. And that's how you know he don't have the spirit of Hamashiach.
No, he could never be Hamashiach. And those that know the Most High's voice, they can see that.
Yeah, come. Yeah, I'm just looking at how Yahawashi was moving.
Yeah,
He was on the low with it.
He's on the low.
Man, come.
He who humbles himself, the Most High gonna exalt. So he knew that.
Come. It says.
Wait, stop right there though. But think about it. That's another. I'm meditating. I'm kind of thinking what you think.
Yeah.
Look at Israel today and how most of us are opposite that. We're actually opposite that character. That's man. I got man. That's a lesson to a lot of us, man. To man, humble yourselves out there. You know who you are, man. Humble yourself. Humble yourself. Don't think more highly of yourself than you are. These feast days should humble. Look at how he came to the feast.
That's a Mashiach.
And that's a Mashiach. He didn't come in and dress with giant shoulder. I ain't gonna get into all that. But you know, the one to be seen, man. Want the front seats. You know what?
He came in on a horse.
Yeah, man. All that. You know. I'm not bashing nobody. I don't want to bash nobody. But it's important, man, that we humble ourselves. That's all.
All praises.
Yeah.
It says, now about the midst, verse 14, now about the midst of the feast, Yahawashi went up into the temple and taught. And the Jews marveled, saying, how knoweth this man letters, having never learned?
Look at that. They were amazed at his knowledge. And this is even showing you the increase that the Most High is going to give us. Well, remember what the scripture bears record of. Said, I believe it was the wise, said he's made me wiser than all my teachers. The Most High through relationship, man. And Most High is going to increase us. Look how he's increased the Israelites. Man, man, to the world, we are just Negroes. We niggas that just got a book in our hand, and like they just know we don't know it. But now they like, man, hey, they know that Bible. It wasn't too long ago, people were saying, man, you know, when I first started, man, people see me with the Bible out teaching, they just knew they had me. Christians and stuff. And then it's like the same way with the Spirit. How he? You know that book, don't you? That's the Most High confounded people with the foolishness of the world. They like, man, this dude don't know nothing. He look like an old wrestler. He don't know nothing. And man, shoot, the Most High. Hey, read that part again. That's powerful.
It says, and the Jews marveled, saying,
they marveled.
how knoweth this man letters, having never learned?
Right.
Come.
Hey,
That's powerful.
Hey, Salakia, what does it mean when he said he never learned? I mean, he didn't go to rabbi
He didn't
school?
go to their schools. He never learned of their schools, their institutions. You know what I'm saying? Back in the Israelites of antiquity, and even during that time, they were very prideful, and you see it with the phylacteries and the things that are mentioned. But they had their schools, so they had what they would call synagogues. They had places of learning that you had to come from certain areas and to be of that stock. You know, Paul was a student, was a biblical student. You know, so that was known. Actually, in the Hebrew culture, I mentioned it before. What was considered the highest place of worship was actually the house of study. You know, we had libraries and things like that. So colleges and universities and what they like on the Howard level, all these Ivy League schools, that was Israel. That was us. And if you didn't go to one of those schools, they were like, oh, who are you? I never learned, man. You don't have your PhD. You know how our people, you have a doctorate behind it with somebody to pay attention to it. You know? Yahawashi didn't have none of that.
That's how the pastors looking at you, though, right?
Yeah.
And that's how they look at us.
That's how they look at us when we on the street. The pastors, you ain't going to seminary school. You don't know nothing, you know? Yeah, which we call cemetery school, the school of the day. I can tell you went. Yeah. You shouldn't have learned. Shouldn't have learned it. Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to get a little bit of this 1 Corinthians 1:27. I'm going to get the second half. It says, and God hath chosen the weak things of the world to confound the things which are mighty.
There you go. That's right.
He used just niggas with no degrees.
No degrees.
To confound PhD scholars.
Ex gang members, ex bottom of the barrel.
You
say what I'm saying?
When Lilla was debating that Michael Brown,
right?
He said it was a high school dropout.
Look at that.
That's what he said to Sakari brother, I'm sorry.
Look, man.
And he said he was a college dropout, but he was studying him, he was like schooling the whole debate.
Well, that goes right into what you just read. Read that again one more time.
1 Corinthians, the last part, I'm gonna just get the whole thing. It said, but God had chosen the foolish things
He's chosen the foolish things, come on,
of the world to confound the wise. And God had chosen the weak things of the world to confound the things which are mighty.
So we see even that weak represented humility, but all of this is a result of who's with us. And everything YAHAWAH'S did, it was a show of who his father was and the power that he was able to hold. And people can't deny that we're powerful. You hear brothers tell you, man, those are powerful brothers. They can say what they want. But for us to stand on these corners, stand bold, all praise to YAHWAH'S, to come from nothing, gang members, and confounding so-called scholars, where we realize that you're really a dummy. They didn't teach you nothing. What you think you know is foolishness. It's ignorance to the men of the Most High.
Salakia, and notice how I use the word world.
Right.
The weak things of the world. The
right.
world is Israel.
The world, right. Absolutely. That's powerful. The weak things of the world, because what is Israel seen as? Weak, man. Nothing. The greatest display of weakness is somebody to be able to put you in chains and make you work against your will. That's the weakest. We are known to the world as the weakest men, women, and children on the planet Earth. You got other nations saying that could have never been us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You got people that's wanting to be us, but they can't identify with that. That's because the Most High did that. Even our weakness, the Most High made us that low. He made us that weak, but for a purpose. Now he confounding the world with it, man. Man, that's powerful.
That's heavy. I just want to, everything you just said is right here.
Read it, bring it out.
Verse 26. This is 1 Corinthians 1:26. I'm gonna start at 25. Because the foolishness of God is wiser than men, and the weakness of God is stronger than men. For ye see your calling, brethren, and brothers got a calling.
Yep.
Brothers out here that just left, kept his feast days, that's the calling. So
that's the calling, the call to obedience. You see your calling.
And the sisters to the children too.
That's right. We're all in line.
Hey, Salakia, my bad, was you finished, kid?
No, go ahead, 'cause I'm gonna finish more, so go ahead.
My bad, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but can I read this precept? So this is the book of Numbers, chapter 12, verse 3, and it says, now the man Moses was very meek above all the men which were upon the face of the earth. And we know what the Most High did with Moses.
Right.
So when you brought that precept out in Corinthians, it made me think about how the Most High used something that's not maybe seen very, very high in society now, like a meek man like Moses, and how the strength that'll come out of a situation like that.
Right.
Even in the YAHWAH'S, they were questioning what town he came from, right? It's like nothing good comes from those towns, and it's like symbolic of like the areas we come from. Because brothers come from rough cities, city areas, rough areas, humble upbringings, but we still go out there and we still battle. And like you said, sometimes we PhD scholars or people that consider themselves, in the word like that, but others got meek, humble beginnings,
Hey, it's powerful, and this is the reason it confounds them, because it is that humble. It is to them. It is for centuries has been seen as nothing. It's nothing, and how is nothing beating with this book? How is nothing doing this? The one we kicked, the one we choked out, the one we could shoot, get away with. The one we could do whatever we wanted to. How did this end right here? Ain't nothing they hate worse than a smart one. I'm gonna be politically correct. A smart one. They hate that. Go ahead.
Verse 28. This is to kind of summarize what brother's been bringing out. And base things of the world and things which are despised have God chosen.
Whew, that's letting you know who the chosen people are.
That's how you know it's us. We gotta bring out the street.
We the base people. You see what in terms of being brought low. We have to.
Right.
That's how you know the chosen of the earth. Come on.
Come. And base things of the world and things which are despised.
Who identifies with that?
Come.
That's the people. Come on.
Have God chosen? Yea, and things which
I have not come but for the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
That's the only one that needs salvation. Hath God chosen? Yea, and things which are not, to bring to naught things that are.
Like things that were not. Even one time he said we were not a people.
Right. We just read it.
Yeah.
32:21.
Yep. You can't make this up, man. That's powerful. Anybody else got anything? Go ahead, bring something out.
It's John 15, John 15:16. Ye have not chosen me, but I have chosen you, and ordained you that ye should go and bring forth fruit, and that your fruit should remain, that whensoever ye shall ask of the Father in my name, he may give it you. This goes back to him choosing Israel. And he's chosen like us as to be disciples and go forth and get together the rest of it.
That's right. That's right. That's powerful. That's powerful. And his presence will be with us. That's why he says, that Yahawashi said, don't worry about what you're going to say. Because I'm going to be with you. I'm going to give you what to say. And that's the set apart spirit, the comforter. He's going to come. That's him with us. Emmanuel, or the Most High with us. That's it. And that's what Tabernacles is all about. So that's why we got to make sure that we complete and endure until the end.
I was going to also say, if you think about completion, you got the first half of the year, you had Passover, unleavened bread, and then also first fruits.
Right.
Then you have the summer, and then when you bringing in your corn and your harvest for the whole year, you about to go into the winter, you had atonement, trumpets, and you completing it literally with tabernacles.
That's right.
Because if you look at the high holy days, this is the last high holy day. Everything else is feast days going into the next Passover next year.
Right.
So you're completing all your high holy days obligations when you finish tabernacles.
That's right.
And it's on the 7th month.
That's
on
powerful.
The 7th month.
On the 7th month. This is rulership time for us. And if you notice the climate of what's going on in the world, we getting close to where every nigga will bow. We getting close. We getting close.
Closer than you think.
Closer than you think. Anytime we come here and come on, what's the chances? What's the chances? That's a sign the Most High is telling us that he's waking up Israel. He's gathering us.
Son, God is with us.
He's with us.
And even them brothers over there, them sisters over there, them just coming back and gathering themselves together, that was a law in itself. It's complete.
Come on. All praise.
That was spiritual.
It definitely was spiritual. We all here at the same time. We don't know those people, never met them before, but the Most High Spirit, the same Spirit, brought us to be keeping tabernacles right next to each other. What's the odds? The spot we got is right next.
It's a lock here. That's why we didn't make it to Jordan Lake.
That's right. That's right. It's the steps of a righteous man, are ordered. So hey, that's it, man. Man's goings is of the Most High.
That's right.
So all praises.